Okay, so welcome back. In this part of the tutorial series, we are going to be allowing the user to upload a profile picture. This profile picture is going to be stored in their user account, if you like, in the database, or the location to the file that they've uploaded will be. What's then going to happen is this is going to be accessible to be displayed anywhere. So this can be displayed on their profile page. It can be displayed to them. We're obviously going to be showing a small preview of the profile picture that's been uploaded just here. And of course, it goes without saying that we're going to be creating the functionality to pick a file, check this file's type securely, so we don't allow dodgy files to be uploaded. And then we're going to be allowing them to upload this. So the first thing I think to do here is to actually modify the database table to allow a location to a file to be stored. And this is really important because it allows us to specify where this file should be, or which file should be shown. So this means that we're not storing images within our database or anything like that. So what we're doing here, well, we've got all our fields at the moment. Let's go over to the Structure tab and we'll add a new field at the end of the table. I'm going to go ahead and call this Profile, and the type I'm going to set to a varchar, and we'll give it a character length of 55. Now this might be longer depending on where you're storing the images on your server, but you can adjust this accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. You can see that we've got this here. Now obviously in Browse at the moment, these are blank for everyone. The default value here is just nothing, so we can use this to check if this is empty. Now if it is empty, we can not show a profile image, or we can prompt the user to upload one. And obviously if it has contents, this will be the path, the relative path to the file, so then we can just display the profile picture. So I've opened the 3 files here that we need to edit, but the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and open up the core of our project, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Images, and inside here I'm going to create a new folder and call it Profile. Now it's important that we don't allow access to this profile. By the way, this is going to be where all of the images are going to be stored for every single user. Now we want to make sure that we don't allow sort of browsing access through a browser to this. So we're going to go ahead and create a new file. This is going to be an htaccess file which we save, much like we did for let's just go back here, much like we did for this. So it's a .htaccess file, and basically this is just going to specify or tell the server that this directory should not be listed. The files in this directory should not be listed. So all we have to do for this is options minus indexes, and we'll go ahead and save this obviously in images and profile. I'm going to save this as a .htaccess document, and there we are, we're done. So now if we open up our browser and go over to images, this allows us to browse because we have we don't have an htaccess file in here specifying that we can't browse. If we go into profile though, we've got this access forbidden message, and the only way that a user or a browser of the site will be able to check for images in here is, or display images or access images, is whether they type, if they type in the image location or the file name, and we're going to be hashing the current time, so this will always be different. So a user can't necessarily guess this. They might be able to, but you can be inventive and think of ways that people might not be able to guess this. Anyway, let's go on with the actually developing the functionality. We've got our database set up ready to go here. All we need to do is develop the upload functionality and the ability to display this out. So in init.php, we already know that we've got this user data variable that holds the fields that we want to retrieve from this specific user if they're logged in. Now we've got a new field that we need to access called profile. So let's go ahead and add that to the array that we passed through, or the field, sorry, that we passed through to this function. So now we have access to this profile data. So over in loggedin.php, which is within the widgets folder, so essentially this is what displays here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to create a little area here. So I'm going to create a new div, and I'm going to give it the class of profile. We might actually need to go into the style sheet as well and add some styles just to make this look a bit neater. Now I'm just going to go ahead and test this out. So to test, I'm going to say echo user data and then profile. So at the moment you may already guess that this isn't going to display anything. So I've refreshed the page, nothing's been displayed. However, obviously I'm logged in as Alex, so I'm going to go ahead and edit this. Let's go ahead and add in, just write test here for now. Go ahead and click go. Here when we refresh we get this test value out. So we know that if this is the path to an image, or it's going to be the path to an image, let me just go ahead and modify this, get rid of this here. So if it's the path to an image, what's going to happen is we can put this inside an image element. But we need a couple of conditions first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an opening and a closing PHP tag. And I'm going to say if empty is equal to false. So if something is empty, and this is user data profile. In fact, I'm going to say if it's not false, then we echo, and we echo an image tag here, or an image element, and we need to give it an alt as well. So we've got the two required attributes for this. Inside of here we're going to place user data profile, so that will include that in the source, and the alt is just going to be x's, let's just escape that character, x's profile image. So x is obviously going to be the user, and we already know how to access that information. We've got it up here, so that's user data first name, so we can go ahead and just plonk that in there. There we go. So head over to here and refresh. It looks as though this has appeared, and in fact let's go ahead and inspect this. Image source. Let's go ahead and look at the code. Oh, sorry, no, it'll be, let's just get rid of that. It will be is equal to false. Sorry, I'm confusing my logic completely. So if it, if the profile is not empty, then we display it. If it is empty, we don't display anything. Okay, so we've done that. Once we've uploaded a profile picture, this will display. What we want to do down here is go ahead and give the user the option to browse. So I'm doing this here just because it's easier for the user to access, but you know, you can go ahead and do this in settings as well, in the settings page if you wish. So the input type here is going to be a file. We need to give this a name as well, and I'm just going to call this profile. And then I'm also going to include an input field, and this is just going to be a submit button. Now obviously we need to wrap this in a form. So let me just go ahead and indent that. So we've got an action and we've got a method. And because we're uploading an image, we need an inc type as well. And this is going to be multipart / form data. Just means that we're transferring a specific type of data over. Here we can access images and process the image. And the method here is going to be post, doesn't need to be capitals. And the action's going to be blank because we're going to be posting this back to the same page. So if we go ahead and just quickly preview this, you'll see we've got this. It looks a little messy, so we're going to add some styles in just a moment. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that now. So if we go ahead and open up the CSS folder and screen, let's scroll down to a place that makes sense. So perhaps just after aside, we'll say .profile. And we will give this a background of F9, 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 and we'll give this a border of 1px. We'll make it dashed and AAA or CCC. So that looks like that. So a little bit better. Let's just go ahead and give it some inner padding. 10 pixel might be too much. There we go. So this is to upload a profile picture. You can, go ahead and add some header in here. I'm not going to bother just for now. Let's just minimize or make this a bit smaller. Okay, so now what we can do is choose a file. This will allow us to choose a file. I've got a file here ready to be uploaded. It's a PNG file. We're going to be accepting PNGs, JPEGs, and GIFs, I guess. You can choose which image files to accept, but I probably think bitmap's a bit too large in file size, most likely. So we're going to be selecting this image. We're going to be clicking submit. That's posted back to the same page, and then just above here we're going to be processing this in the code. Now we'll do all the relevant security checks, check that it's the right file type, and then if it is, we'll go ahead and upload the file, place that in the correct directory, and then we'll go ahead and update the database. And what that will do is then the profile picture will automatically appear. So in the next part, we'll look at tying this all together and actually allowing the user to upload the profile picture.